Hey creators, welcome back to Creator Best Life for a brand new video. I'm Kimani, and for those of you that are new here, welcome. Today I'm super duper excited because we are talking about my reads and watches for the first quarter of 2025. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a recap, a review of all the things that are on my TBR that I have completed, as well as my watch list that I've completed. And it's been some fun ones. So far, I feel really good about majority of the things that I have consumed in the first quarter. And it's significantly more than I usually consume. So if you're interested in recap videos and reviews on movies, TV shows, and books, just keep watching. Also, if you're equally excited to be here, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you're alerted every single time I post a brand new video, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button so you let me know that you're enjoying yourself here and I'm doing a good job and you just want to, join the creator fam. So now let's get into this review. Hey guys, like I said, this has been the most that I have consumed in a very, very long time, I should say. I read a ton, and it wasn't physical books this time, it was the Libby app. And audiobooks, sometimes they're good for me, sometimes they're bad for me, sometimes it depends on what book that I read. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, depending on the voice actor of the book, I just cannot finish the audiobook. I'll have to read it myself. And I don't know if that's necessarily, I don't know what it is, because they're all, the voices are fine. The acting is great. I have no comments on the acting whatsoever. It's just, for some reason, I can't get behind somebody's voice sometimes, and so I have to stop. So I'll talk about that a little bit more when it comes to some of the books that I've read. But yeah, I got through a ton of stuff, watched a ton of stuff. It was a very successful year for TV, for sure. We also had the Oscars premiere. I did not see majority of the films that came out before the Oscars last year, so I can't tell you about that, specifically because it was a different year, but also because, yeah, I just didn't watch those. We're going to start out with movies and TV shows because obviously it's my favorite thing ever. So we're going to start really strong with one of my personal favorites. We've got Paradise on Hulu. That stars Sterling K. Brown, it stars James Marsden, and a lot of other people that I loved watching on the screen. It was nice to see some young black actors coming into the fold who were really good. Just younger people in general that I've seen, and I'm just excited to see these actors blossom because everyone did a really, really great job. I gave you guys like the log line of Paradise, but what I will say is Sterling K. Brown, James Marsden, not only did they look good, but they did the darn thing while they were looking good. So watch it for the plot. These two are the plot. Basically, I just loved the fact that I was thrilled the entire time. I was trying to figure out like a bit of a mystery, like what's going on with this town that they have created called Paradise. And it's kind of a whodunit in the sense that like the president, Cal, who was played by James Marsden, was murdered, and Sterling K. Brown's character X is his, right-hand man, his first in command when it comes to his Secret Service detail. And so he found him dead in his room first thing in the morning, and now he's trying to investigate who did this, how do we keep this contained, how do we keep the morale up for the community once they find out that the president has passed away. And not only that, like, not only did he pass away, but he was brutally murdered. So that, I mean, as fun as murder can be, that was fun. But also they had comedic moments, which was great in the dialogue. It was fun with the playlist, but it also was really heartfelt, which I expected nothing less from Dan Fogelman, because, This Is Us, we always cried. And Sterling K. Brown is one of the only people that can get me to cry in a scene. Like, the list is short, but occasionally a thug will shed a tear. So just really, really phenomenal acting. I am obsessed. Always. So another thing that was really cool about this TV show in particular for me was that it touched on, almost parallel to what kind of society we're living in the sense that the rich are kind of infiltrating our government system. They're buying their way in, and they are trying to maintain their status as the elite. And trying to be the rulers of our area. And so it definitely hit home for me just because life, if you're not keeping up with American politics, like, what are you living under a rock? But I thought that element to bring into this new world that they're trying to create to make better, but still including all of the old stuff that didn't necessarily work in the previous world, was a great way to, have a dialogue about what's actually happening, because I feel like we keep repeating the same history and things are never going to get better if we don't do better and learn from history, learn from our mistakes. And there also was an element of a love story between two workers towards the end of the season, and we also, felt very sorry. We felt the pain, we felt the joy in X's love life when it came to his marriage and, seemingly losing his wife. And then by the end of the season, he finds out that his wife is still alive and she is with a group of survivors, and they are trying to make their way to paradise, which is inside of a freaking mountain. But then we see him going into the abyss, essentially, because he doesn't know what to expect. It's supposed to be a toxic area, and now it's like totally fine because these people are still alive. And so he's riding off into the sunset, finding his wife. So one thing that I really loved about that is they left us on a cliffhanger for that. And so we can really anticipate season 2 because they already announced that they have started filming for season 2. They are on set. So we have something to look forward to for hopefully next year. I'm hoping, because it was only 10 episodes. 10? 8. Either way, it was a good time. I would rate this a 5 out of 5 stars. Because not only was I entertained, I was thrilled, I was enthralled. The plot was great. I was left with no holes, and I was left anticipating a season 2. And in my book, that's good. I thought the acting was phenomenal per usual. They had great picks. The script was really good. It was spot on. It made sense. All the characters that did band together, that made total sense. And yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, if you enjoy thrillers and like a little bit of a dystopian kind of situation, not so much dystopian, but yeah, I'll just leave it at thriller. Drama, thriller, that kind of thing. If you like those, go watch Paradise. It's really good. All right, another TV show that has had the internet in a tizzy, okay, is Severance Season 2. If you have not heard about Paradise and Severance, you are kind of, missing out. You really are. So Severance kind of left us on this fun cliffhanger of our severed floor employees with Mark S. finding out what their Outy's life is really like, who their Outy is. They find out what they have lost or what they're missing out on in their Outy's life. And we find out that Mark S. has a wife that he thought was passed away, but now she's alive. So we were left on that cliffhanger. We open up season 2 and they're trying to figure out how to find Mark S.'s wife. Because now their innie knows about their Outy. And we've got some characters now interacting with their Outy's life, their love life. And it's been really fun, like the dates and the conversations that they have with their significant others or previous significant others. Then we have the backstory about Kier. Then we have Milkshake breaking down vending machines and throwing parties, and we're figuring out like what actually happened to Gemma, Mark S.'s wife. And it's just so many layers and it's fun. Oh, we also found out that Helly R is Helena Egan, and she is a key component of making sure that Lumen stays Lumen and, the people on the severed floor stays severed. That creates a rift between herself and her innie and Mark S.'s innie because they're actually in love. They finally sleep together, but it actually happened to be Helly R's Outy that sleeps with him, so that creates a whole different dynamic. And then the end of the season, which was so much fun for me, Mark S. was trying to convince, like having an argument, trying to convince his Outy, trying to convince his innie to help him save his wife. And so at first it didn't work, and he finally did it in the end. But then he leaves her, runs off into the sunset with Helly R because he's the innie at this time. So now Mark S is kind of screwed. I wonder what season 3 is going to be like, just because now he's really going to be battling and he's going to have essentially two girlfriends at this time. It's gonna be the wife and then the girlfriend. Super weird having the work wife situation, but I kind of like that they did it for the storyline. I personally did not like that he rode off into the sunset with Heli R. However, I think that it suits the character's motivation because this is his innie, and then I also think that it suits the plot to give us more to work with, or give them more to work with in season 3. So I'm excited to see how all of that plays out. And I hope that they did not write Irv out. It kind of seems like they're kind of pushing Irv out a little bit, but I love Irv so freaking much that I hope that they continue to make him a key component of next season. But who knows? We'll see. The whole concept of Severance is also so much fun for me because, well, fun, I should say relatable, just in the sense that everyone kind of has this innie and outie life when it comes to work. And particularly as a Black woman also struggling with anxiety, particularly social anxiety, I can relate so much to having to mask at work, not only because of the anxiety, but also because being a Black person in majority white spaces. And just the element of Black people not making friends at work because we are in white spaces, partially not feeling included, the other part that, like, I'm just here to do my job and go home. And I think that it's cool that they did have that element with some of the characters. Like, I do my job, we look at these numbers, we do the programs, then we check out. And it's totally, totally separate. And for some people, it's, no, I want to make friends at work, come to my barbecue, like, let's hang out. And there is a divide when it comes to that. And I think that that's cool that they added that to this storyline, because I know that a lot of other people can relate to that as well, not just Black people or Black women, but just everyone across the board, because you kind of feel like you can't be your truest self at work because you have to maintain a certain level of professionalism and fit into whatever the culture is of the office, which is also a discrimination tactic, just to decide, like, oh, I would have fun with this person at work. And it's like, we're at work. It's not necessarily supposed to be fun. Like, I'm not expecting it to be fun. It can be fun, but I'm not expecting it to be fun because, I want to clock in, clock out, and then go hang out with the people that I chose to have in my life, So I love the conversation around that. I know that there are a lot more themes that have gone over my head, and of course on Threads and wherever else you like to engage about TV shows and storylines. You're always going to have those people that think that they are the authority on a show that they didn't even write. So how do you know what all the themes are? But I know that there are so many because I just know how layered TV shows and storylines can be, and it's so much fun, and I just love how well done it was, and I'm looking forward to season 3. So what I would give this show is a 5 out of 5 because there were no holes. I love the characters. Like, let me just say, it's something special about an actor that can play multiple roles in the same show or movie. That is a skill that is unmatched, in my opinion, to play two totally different characters. And all of them did it. And I just really love that so freaking much. And I really have to shout out Adam Scott and the actress who plays Heli R, because their characters are like night and day from each other. So they do a phenomenal job. And like, just shout out Milkshake because he keeps it so much fun. I know that they have so much fun creating this character and just building his storyline because it is so comical in the most sinister way and relatable, just in the sense that he is living the black experience. And even having his interactions with Natalie, like, they have this understanding of almost being in the sunken place that, you are still othered here. And whatever you do is being tightly monitored, even more so than the next person who does not look like you. So they just touch on a lot of themes. And I'm sure that all of those themes have been discussed because, actors talk with the directors and the writers about making it better to their character. Because, Milkshake and Natalie could have been white characters at first. And then having that nuance once the actors were selected, of I need to make this character have the Black experience and have that understanding of what it feels like to be in a majority white space, being at work, and being critiqued more so than other people. I just love it. I love how much thought that they put into it. And, sometimes things just happen. I don't know if they like thought that deeply into some of the things, but it seems like they're leaning more into it if they haven't. But if they did, like, smart. It only makes sense. Ben Stiller has already confirmed that there will be a season 3. Who knows when that's going to come out, but I am just so freaking excited for it to come out. So if you like these kinds of TV shows, it's an office thriller, kind of sci-fi, and it's a little weird. It's hard to like figure out what is happening. We still don't fully understand our world, but it's a good time. So I would watch it if I were you. Number 3 is The Residence on Netflix. Shonda girl, you done did it again. I was never expecting in my wildest dreams that she would come out with a murder mystery. And mind you, she didn't write it. I don't think she was the creator. No, she was not the creator. However, I just never expected it. But it was such a pleasant surprise. And I could still hear her, the way that Shonda Rhimes talks a little bit, in terms of like the voice inflection of the characters. And so that was so much fun to, hear that and put that together, and also remember like, hey, this is a Shonda Rhimes show. But also it was so fun to see Xoxo Aduba. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. It was so fun to see her as a main character and telling all these dudes like, get out of my way so that I can bird first and then solve this crime. Because murder mystery. So it starts out in the first episode, someone is dead, kind of like Paradise. It only makes sense, like drop the bomb first. That's got to be the inciting incident. And so she's brought on from her birding trip that she was supposed to go on to. She missed it to solve this crime because she is the best. So she's playing Detective Cup. Detective Cup is investigating all of the employees at this location. And they're at the White House. So a murder happens at the White House. The chief usher has been murdered. So you've got the assistant usher who wants the chief usher's job. You've got the social secretary. You've got all of these butlers, you've got the chefs. It's just a lot of people that had vendettas against the usher, and then some of the other workers, like the president's best friend, the president's husband. And what's so funny is his mom was never a suspect, which is hilarious because she was like, no, that lady could never be a suspect. So it was just so much charm from each character, but like Uzo's in particular was so quirky because like it's random for, to meet somebody that's like into birding, in my opinion. I don't frequent those circles much, but I've never met anyone that birds. And that's probably like more of an elite hobby, just because like you don't have to worry about your bills, because who's sitting up for hours looking at the sky waiting on a bird to fly by? Not me. So I love that they included that quirky hobby that she has. And I also love that, one, she's a Black woman, she's middle-aged, and she's thicker. That never happens in majority TV shows, and I'm just so happy to see. And she's also like telling all these dudes what to do. Like nobody is smarter than her, even though they try to be. And just so much wit and sarcasm that comes out of her character in particular was just such a fun way to watch this show, and seeing the plot unfold, figure out how she got to her conclusions. And nobody was a suspect at first, and she didn't even figure out who the suspect was until the very end. And I also love that they plugged Angela Christie, they plugged Murder on the Orient Express, as well as Knives Out when they mentioned Daniel Craig's character, because they couldn't pronounce his name for one, and they didn't know what his character was and like what he did or anything. But love all of those because murder mysteries are so much fun. Whodunits are so much fun, and they delivered all the elements that you would expect in a murder mystery. That's what The Residence had. 5 out of 5. The build up was great. The payoff was great. I was thoroughly impressed. I laughed the entire time. My favorite part is each episode flip-flopping between who is actually the murderer, or if it was a group of people. But since they mentioned the Orient Express, it couldn't be a group of people because that would just be too easy. And it's never the main person that you think it is. It's always someone that kind of, floats around and you don't necessarily expect it at first. So it was so much fun to solve this puzzle. And coincidentally, I did solve the puzzle in the last episode before she had solved it. I had figured it out because it just made sense. It made sense after thinking about all the previous episodes, but that was such a treat to go through. All right, TV show number 4 is Reacher on Amazon Prime. Per usual, trouble has found Reacher once again. Surprise, surprise. So he ends up going undercover, which is not common unless maybe he does it a lot in the books. I have not read the books. However, he's gone undercover at this time. So it was a fun feeling of being on the edge of your seat, considering that you think he's going to get caught the entire time. And so he saves this rich guy's kid, which was totally staged. And so he's working with the FBI to find this young woman, as well as figure out what's going on with this guy he was supposed to have killed last season. And so last season, I think it was last season. Yeah, because I remember, maybe I'm tripping. I thought it was last season, but it could have been like just previously. It was previously because they had flashbacks. So anywho, he was supposed to have killed this guy. He thought he did, shot him in the head, and then he fell in the water. That man survived and now has amnesia. And so he's still this, lord over guns. I don't know what you would call this guy. He's a criminal, though. He's like the kingpin. But it's fun to have a little bit of that anxiety trying to figure out if Reacher is going to get made, and also figure out how he finds this young woman who was the informant, basically, to the FBI, and how do you save this kid and his dad? Because you don't like his dad. The dad is running an illegal business, but at least the kid you kind of feel sorry for. I say kid loosely because he's in college. I'm assuming he's college age, so low-key grown, but he's living at home, and his dad fully takes care of him. They're rich. One element in the show that I will say that I do get tired of is having Jack Reacher fall into bed with whoever the main female character is. And I don't know if that's because I'm a girl, but it very much so gives, this show is starting to give, boy just wants to see fighting and boobs. And that's okay in its place, but it's also can you give me a little bit more? I don't want to expect him to always sleep with whoever the cop or the detective is in this case. I'm kind of, it's overplayed. I'm tired of it. I just feel like it's unrealistic. Everyone does not do that. Immediately, the only person you are with of the opposite sex, you do not fall in love with, you do not find attractive physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. And so for me, it's played out. I wish they would stop doing it, because I'm just come on. So I get it. But the cases are interesting. I love seeing Neely come back for her scenes, because she's always beating some dude up and then sitting down and eating her little, Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Puffs or whatever she's eating. It's freaking hilarious. I wish that she interacted with Reacher a bit more, but that's life. That's life. It is what it is. And I hear that she wasn't a huge character in the books, but what do I know? You can always expand in a TV show, just because you kind of got to make sure that more characters are included in a TV show as opposed to the books, because books, you have a lot of the internal monologues and whatnot. So I'd rate it a 4 out of 5, just because it feels like the payoff is always good. I enjoy the cases that they solve, and the fighting, and his dry humor is so funny to me. It's constant sarcasm, and I love it. I enjoy it. I'm gonna watch the next season regardless, but yeah, I wish they would stop doing the female main character falls into bed with him, but they're probably gonna keep doing it. What do I know? All right, 5th TV show is 0 Day on Netflix. Now, I will watch anything that Robert De Niro is in. I think that he is such a phenomenal actor. So I just wanted to put that out first and foremost. So this TV show starts out with him, who's the former President Mullen, and he is getting on with his day. He's obviously an older guy, and it's revealed later on in the episode that he's having these visions. So now we're wondering, is he mentally ill? Does he have PTSD? What's going on? Is it his meds that's giving it to him? Whatever, because he's taking a lot of medicine. So it's revealed at the end of episode 1, which was such a fun cliffhanger, was that he actually is losing his memory. So throughout the season, and I'm only a few episodes in, but throughout the season, I have enjoyed seeing him lose time, which is freaking terrifying. But I also love the element of adding, he had to step down from the presidency. He did not run for a second term because of his memory. His wife knew, he knows. So I don't know why they're pushing him to solve this mystery of who had the cyber attack hit on the US. But listen, he's doing it. And surprisingly enough, like, having a black woman as president, I had no idea. They didn't even advertise her. But Angela Bassett, how did they have Angela Bassett and not advertise her? I'm confused. Like, the Angela Bassett. Crazy. Anywho, I love that they touched on, which is similar to what we're going through right now, the last few elections, our, presidential picks have been seasoned. And I say that respectfully. They are on the very much so latter end of their lives, and people keep picking them to run the country, and they don't even fully understand like what the country is going through. They don't understand. Mind you, they're rich white men. And so, of course, they don't understand what majority of the country is going through. But it's kind of crazy for them to be late 70s, to be 80s, and telling people the way that things should be when people are totally different nowadays. And like, majority of the country is significantly younger than you. But what do I know? That's neither here nor there. I just love that they included that aspect, because I think people are kind of tired of having someone significantly older than them telling them the way that they should live their lives when they're not even going to be around to live through a lot of the policies that they're implementing. So like I said, I did not finish the TV show yet. Matt and I have been watching it on and off, and sometimes I work super long hours and we just don't have time to do it, and just watching a ton of other shows. So far I am enjoying it. I will check back with you guys later. I did read some of the reviews of it just to see what other people thought, and so far it's not looking too hot. I guess it kind of lost the plot later on in the season. I don't know. I'll give my thoughts later. But so far, I'm enjoying it, and I hope to enjoy it through the very end. And just a quick reminder for that, like, while I do give reviews and telling stuff, a good chunk of stuff objectively, but also from my perspective, it's just my opinion. So sometimes it's okay to just watch something for the enjoyment versus watching something and being like, that firefighter is not holding the hose right. Like, that's not how we hold the hose, or whatever it might be, So it's okay to just enjoy things and watch it just because it's a fun time versus it having to be a super good movie, So as of right now, for enjoyment, for creativity, for acting, I would give it a 4 out of 5, but that could change. Who knows? All right, next is The Night Agent Season 2. Now, I was really excited about Season 2 of The Night Agent. I watched the first episode, Matt and I both did, and we both looked at each other and we were like, I do not want to continue this show. And I say that with all the respect in the world. It did not hit. It just did not hit. Like, I will say, like, the beginning, it was kind of fun. You have Brady Murphy in there. You create this new character. She's murdered in the first, like, 5-ish minutes of the show. So I'm like, okay, like, what they gonna do next? Because, like, why did they just introduce her for her to be gone? And then they bring Rose back, and it just felt a little forced. Now, mind you, I watched The Night Agent, and there were a lot of inconsistencies for me that I, like, in my head, I'm just like, I'll let it go just because I'm enjoying myself. So I enjoyed Season 1, but Season 2, now I'm just like, okay, it's a bit much. So just including Rose and having her be so intrusive, and just it was just a lot for me personally. I know there are intrusive people, but like, this man works for the government, and it's just a lot going on for me that just did not make total sense. I encourage you to check it out for yourself if you did enjoy Season 1 like I did. However, I'm gonna just be real. I'm probably not going to finish it, and that's okay. So unfortunately, season 2 gets a 1 out of 5 for me, just based on the first episode. But you know, it is what it is. I'm no expert. I'm just telling you what I enjoyed, what I found wrong, what I didn't find wrong. So those were the elements in particular that I was just like, it could be better. It could be better. I just wasn't entertained the way that I was entertained the first time. So yeah, sorry to this man. If you do try it out, let me know in the comments what you think. All right, next on my list is One of Them Days. It just popped up on Netflix. I missed it in theaters because life. But One of Them Days follows SZA, Keke Palmer. They play Drew and Alyssa, and I mixed the names up in terms of respective order. Keke Palmer plays Drew. Alyssa is played by SZA. They had a lot of heavy hitters in there that I will not remember all of them. But I did remember Cat Williams, the other bald guy that's always hanging out with Kev on stage, and he voices like the animal videos and stuff. That man is hilarious. Everybody else, yeah, it was a lot of people in there. Vanessa Bell Calloway, just a ton of people that did a great job that I was excited to see. So of course I was excited because Issa Rae, duh, but also like a black woman wrote the show, wrote the movie, Sarita Singleton. And so when I started the show, I had heard good things about it. So I got about 25-30 minutes in, and I was just like, maybe it's not for me, because I try to give it about 25-30 minutes when it's a movie. And of course, that's the first act. So I was just trying to figure out if I enjoyed it, because I'm not a comedy person per se. I'll watch a rom-com. I'll watch a yeah, that's pretty much all I watch. I like a comedy show. I watch that, but like buddy comedies and stuff like that, it's not my favorite genre. It's different pockets here and there of movies that I do enjoy, but I don't necessarily gravitate towards watching a comedy, because I'm a thriller, mystery, psychological horror girl through and through. And then Disney, like I only have two sides. Initially, I did not enjoy myself, but after continuing, it got really funny, really ridiculous, and they worked well together. I think that their chemistry as friends was fun. I like that it included heartfelt moments. Keke Palmer's character, Drew, like ended up liking this guy, and they worked out. It was also just a treat to see black faces just everywhere. It was so much fun. It also had Maude Apatow, who was fun. She played the only black girl who moves into the neighborhood. But yeah, it was really cool. The girls ran out of their rent money. Alyssa had given it to her deadbeat boyfriend, and he spent it. So they spend the whole movie trying to figure out how to make this rent money, and then they end up owing money to this crazy gangbanger named Lolo, and they find a way to get rid of him. And it's just funny. It's antics. It's like the buddy comedy genre is hilarious. It's just a matter of like I don't always look to watch them, but I'm really glad that I did, because it, like I said, it had the heartfelt moments of friendship as well, and just the journey of figuring out how to make ends meet is always fun in a movie or a TV show. So I really loved it. I hope to see more of these comedies, buddy comedies, whatever kind of comedies starring more black women. Like I loved Girls Trip. Like that was freaking hilarious. And so I can't wait to see more of these and hopefully produce some of my own in the future. And so yeah, I would give this movie a 5 out of 5. I will definitely 100% watch it again. Man, this video is going to be so freaking long. But moving right along, let's talk about books. And of course, I have my notes here. So like I said before, this is probably the fastest that I have ever gone through some books, including a series. And that's been probably since high school, when I read through the Twilight Saga and the Hunger Games in class, mind you, daily. Like I was obsessed with these books on my iPod Touch. So all that to say, reading went very well this quarter, just because most of it was on audiobook. Number one would be The Inheritance Games. So I started that book. It's the first of the trilogy, and then she has a bunch of other books coming out, or that have come out already, that are kind of based on that same series. But the first book I started before the new year, and then I continued it. So I'm counting this just because I hadn't talked about the book itself. And so It's another mystery type, very on brand for me, and I was hooked immediately. I loved it. The character Avery, she comes from nothing, has nothing. Her mom is dead. She and her sister live together. Her sister has a trash boyfriend, and all of a sudden Avery gets this fortune from this guy named Tobias Hawthorne. He is a billionaire. He passed away, left her with everything, left his family with nothing. He has 4 grandsons, 2 daughters, and a mom that have are still living, and they're all living in this mansion together. And the only caveat for Avery to keep her fortune, her new fortune, is that she has to go live in the mansion with his family for at least a month. And so she does it. There's some antics, an attempted murder on her life, and she kind of falls into this love triangle with 2 of the brothers, and it's messy. It's a lot, but I was entertained. I love the mystery of it, trying to figure out who's trying to kill her. She finally figures it out. It's some messy stuff with like neighbors and stuff, and that I think that they did a good job bringing that story together, and I was entertained. I think that it was some funny parts, and I just thought it was cute. Another, YA novel that I enjoyed. I tend to read a lot of YA novels lately, so yeah, it was a good time. So moving on to, I give that a 5 out of 5. And moving on to our second book, which is the second book in the series, which is called The Hawthorne Legacy. Now we're back. She still has a crush on both the brothers. It was equally as intriguing, and the payoff was great when you find out who Avery is actually related to. So we find out that the brother that has passed away, because Tobias Hawthorne, I said he has 2 daughters who are still alive. It's a brother that had passed away, and he was it sounds like I believe he was the adopted brother. I missed that point because I read this a while ago. This was like January. She had been playing games like chess outside on the street with this guy. She thought he was homeless, so he's actually her dad. Her mom was with him years ago. Her mom was into some crazy stuff, like she has a messy family, and like I said, her mom is gone, but being actually related to the family, kind of, just not by blood, is kind of crazy. And so that was a fun ride, figuring out the truth about that. And I will say I started to zone out a little bit during this story, and it could just be me being sleepy, me being disinterested because I had a lot going on. Could have been work stuff, but yeah, while listening to it, it wasn't really keeping my attention as much as the first book was. So for that, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Like I said, it could be me, but I did find myself getting distracted quite a bit. Moving on to the third book of the series, which is The Final Gambit. I did not read it. I started it. It didn't hold my attention, and I just DNF'd it because I was totally gone by then. And I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm hoping that it's a slow burn, so I might go back to it if I'm, to see if I need to be in a different headspace just to enjoy it. And I do have the physical copy, so I could just read the physical copy myself instead of listening to the voice actor, which was totally fine. I enjoyed it, which is why I, had eaten up the first book so much. So hopefully I'll pick it back up later, because I might just need a little bit of a palate cleanser, because I read a lot of mystery thrillers. I don't read romance because it's hard for me to find stuff that doesn't have the smut in it. I'm not a smut girly. And the spice, I don't need the spice in the books. Just give me the romance, something cute, something classy. That's just my personal preference for reading. So I might need to hop on over to fantasy or something just to have a little bit of a reset when it comes to reading. But I will say, I have 2 other books that I have read already. And the 4th book is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I had always heard good things about Frida McFadden's books, and she has a ton of books out, and so I wanted to give them a try. I was hooked immediately because I was trying to figure out like who these characters are, why they're in a horrible relationship, and then another main character is she was accused last year of sleeping with her high school teacher, so she's in high school, and now she's got a crush on the married man character, who is her teacher, but his wife is also her teacher. So two different classes. And so the married couple don't get along, and the wife is, trying to figure out why her husband doesn't like her, why he doesn't touch her. They spend no time together except going randomly to dinner, don't like each other. So she's cheating on him with the guy that sells her shoes. She's got the shoe addiction, really quirky aspect of her personality, but it's fun. I like it. And then the husband, which we don't know that much about until the end of the story, he is just a little weird, and he's supposed to be like really nice because he's into poetry. He's teaching English class, and then has this poetry club that he hosts, which the teenage girl joins in on, and she forms this crush on him, and then we find out that he wants to be with her, so they start sleeping together in the school. And she's kind of crazy because you hear her internal monologue. So what's crazy in the end is they end up killing his wife so that she could be with him. He just wanted to get rid of his wife. He was tired of his wife. And what's also crazy is they buried her alive. They didn't know that she was still alive. She came back to life. She got out the dirt, called her boyfriend that works at the, she called her boyfriend. But while she was still in the dirt, the teenage girl calls her best friend, who she doesn't talk to that much because he's been hanging out with this other girl at school. She thought they were sleeping together, and that was her mortal enemy. She was bullying her. And so it's revealed that the bully was also sleeping with the teacher a little bit before. So that's important later on. So her best friend, the guy, comes pick her up and, try to hide the evidence of what she's done. And so the wife ends up calling her boyfriend that works at the shoe store, and they plot to get rid of the husband. In the end, what's crazy is that we find out that the wife was sleeping with the teenage girl's best guy friend, and that's why they never became an item, the two teenagers, because he was sleeping with his teacher. So it was just a mess. It was really messy. And then it's like, well, which teacher is which teacher? Because she was also friends with the teacher that was accused of sleeping with that teenage girl in the first place, and he had lost his job. So now I'm just like, what kind of insane overlapping mess is this? But I was drawn in by the drama, and the drama kept me the entire time. So if you like a little back and forth and then a fun reveal in the end, yeah, I would check that out for yourself if you don't really like spoilers. But yeah, it's really good. I gave that book, what did I give that book? I gave that book 4 out of 5. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm trying to figure out what it was missing. I just I don't know, I feel like the ending, it got a little bit confusing because I wasn't quite sure that she did sleep with the teenage boy, the wife. But when I was talking about the book, because my mom had read the book too, and she was like, yeah, that's what happened. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I didn't understand that. But yeah, the big reveal was really good. It's just, it wasn't quite clear for me, at least. So maybe I'm just a little so neither here nor there. 4 out of 5 stars. Loved it. All right, The Paris Apartment. I really enjoyed this book as well. Our main character is a young woman. She's struggling. She grew up in foster care, considering that she found her mom dead, and she has this half brother who she shares the mom with, who is, more well-to-do. He's more put together because he was actually adopted. And so she goes to stay with him because she has, essentially lost her job, and she gets to his place and he's not answering. And they had spoken prior. He was like, yeah, looking forward to seeing you. Ring the bell when you get here, blah, blah, blah. So he expected her, but he was the one who was not there. So it ends up being her trying to figure out what happened to her brother. Like, because it's not like him to just be a no-show. Because his cat's still there, and then the neighbors start acting weird. So she starts putting together pieces of what's going on with the neighbor's family. They end up being all related. They're all the same family. And some characters get killed. And in the end, she does find her brother. She gets him to safety, and that's how the story ends. It's a lot of back and forth, and it's fun seeing her talk with each individual family member, which she doesn't realize that they're family members until close to the very end of the story. So I love the sleuth element of it, because she's interviewing these people, basically trying to figure out what's going on, and running all over Paris just to figure out what's going on. Because mind you, she does not speak French. She and her brother are British. And so all these characters are intertwined in some way, and they're actually covering up another crime, which is why her brother ends up tied up in the house, and he had been there the whole time, but she was searching for him for days. All that to say, that one was a great sleuth story. I enjoyed each character and trying to figure out who they are, because one of the characters was actually kind of insane, because she was also adopted as well. And so I think that the audiobook was really good. I it kept me entertained for sure, and I ate that up. But also just because seeing how all the mystery unfolded was so much fun. So yeah, I give that one a 5 out of 5, because the build up did have a decent payoff. And I definitely read it again, like maybe in a couple years, just because it was so much fun to read, and I loved the back and forth with the characters. So yeah, that's what I would vote it. So if you like books like that, go ahead and give that a try. So yeah, back to what I was saying about needing like a little palate cleanser. I think I'm gonna read the second book of the Davenports series, and I really want to read Oathbound, which is the third book of the Legendborn series. So I'm probably just gonna buy that one just to support, because Black woman author, and I really love the first two, and I purchased the first two. So I'm probably gonna read those two just to give myself a little bit of a break from the mystery and read a little bit of romance and fantasy. And yeah, there's so many movies and TV shows and books that have been on my list for a while, and I did not even get to it. It's just so much. Even when people in my industry are like, oh, have you seen any movies lately? Like someone asked me the other day, like, did I watch any of the Oscar movies? And I'm like, nah, I didn't watch them. I didn't have time. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money at the movie theater, for one, but I also just, if it doesn't catch my eye, I haven't gravitated towards it. But I also need to watch more movies just in general, just to, see what's being put out, see the storylines, and see, like, even if it's a quote unquote bad movie, I want to see like the good elements, and then see where they went wrong, and then come up with my own ways to make it better, because that's how you learn and stay up to date on what's going on. And also I just lean more towards the TV shows, because the character development is just in my opinion, a longer process. You kind of get that slow burn, and you get to pick up different pieces from each episode and each season about what's going on with this character and who they actually are. So another TV show that just came out is called The Studio, starring Seth Rogen. It's a comedy about Hollywood. And so I think that that's going to be really fun. I've heard good things. So many people in my industry are talking about it and think it's going to be good. So I do want to try that out, because it's been on my list, and it's been on my list. I just put it on there because it just came out last week, but it is on my list. I had heard about it a while back, so I'm excited to try that out. Sinners is coming out this month, and so is You season 5, the final season. So I'm excited about both of those projects, because Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, and vampires, the same movie. I can't wait. So yeah, I'll be very busy Q2, but I'm gonna make more time to sit down and watch some of these other projects, because like Q1 was successful, but Q2, I've got a lot of writing to do, so we'll see. So that was basically everything that I remember and wrote down that I consumed in Q1. It, like I said, it was very successful in terms of reading and watching a ton. Like finishing seasons of TV shows in 3 months is kind of crazy, but I had a really good time. I think that all these projects are phenomenal. I do not ever want to just really knock someone else's art. It's just a matter of how much I enjoy, if there are plot holes, if there's anything that I'm missing, if I'm left feeling like there was more to be desired from the project, I will say so. And like I said, I'm no expert. Like, I'm just a consumer and someone who enjoys writing as well. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But please don't forget to let me know in the comments which projects that you have read or watched that you enjoyed, which you're looking forward to that are also coming out. And don't forget to like it, share with a friend, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so that you can join the Creator fam. I would love to have you. With that said, I will see you guys in a brand new video. Go create your best life today, guys. Bye.